Good evening, class. This is our second meeting for this course in agricultural production management. And as we have discussed last time, we started with our discussion on agricultural production and uh, agricultural production, and also some basic concepts in uh, production optimization or the theory of production. So that this uh, evening or this time, we would like to proceed a little further by discussing about uh, the very important structure of agricultural production that is responsible in being able to produce or generate activities that also is uh, necessary in for the application of the principles of management. No? Today, we will discuss about farm management and farm types. Now, firstly, I will walk you through the concept of, say, a farm, and say, why do we need to study? Why do we need to understand a farm and farming situation? And then from there, we proceed on discussing about the different types of farms, okay, according to generic or economic orientation, or even, yeah, according to economic and even non-economic orientation. So beforehand, let me just remind us or remind everybody that this part of the lecture is asynchronous, no? Which is actually our lecture that will complement the discussion that we will have every Sunday. No? So I have already uploaded the syllabus, and as although it is already a revised one, but we need to also continually improve our syllabus to cohere with the lecture delivery and the content of every step of the lecture, so that we'd be able, or you would be guided in terms of what are the aspect of the lecture that are well covered in the syllabus. Okay, so uh, to proceed without so much ado, let me just discuss with you about why do we need to study farm management, or why farm management in the first place. Okay, why do we start with farm management? What is the relationship? What is this in relation to agricultural production management? Now, a farm, or yeah, a farm is, it is the smallest physical unit of an agricultural production. That's why if we study about agricultural production, we need to study about the farm. We need to understand the workings and the activities inside the farm, because it is the smallest physical unit of an agricultural production enterprise. A farm can vary in its economic orientation. It can either be for kitchen or for market. Okay, but for kitchen oriented farms, this is actually exemplified by a farm that produces only to support subsistence needs or subsistence system, or in other words, it does not supply surplus, or it does not produce surplus for the market. Okay, while a market oriented farm, from the name itself, it is actually a farm. It is actually a farming endeavor that is operating, or that connects with commercial, say, activities. It is generally production activities that is designed for commercial operation or for profit orientation. So that is for market oriented types of farm. So both are very important for, say, developing livelihood, because a livelihood does not necessarily mean it is for income or for profit, because from the very essence of the term livelihood, it is the what? Livelihood means to a living. Okay, means to a living. That means to say, may it be a service oriented, may it be for kitchen, may it be for like market. If you live with that, it help you provide a good living condition, and that's livelihood. Okay, so that is very important uh, context also, that a farm need not be entirely for market, but it is for kitchen. It can also be for kitchen orientation. Now, this course is focused more on the market-oriented farm operation, agricultural production management. This course is focused more on the market-oriented farm operation. The agricultural production management activities of this type of farm is intended to generate more wealth without compromising the environment. Okay, so this is the conviction or the philosophy for this particular type of say orientation, that it is a uh, type of farm that is oriented for market or for profit or commercial orientation, designed to generate more wealth or add more wealth to the farm household without compromising the environment. So that is very important, uh, say, conceptual framework. Okay. Now, what is farm management then? We know that a farm is the smallest physical unit of agricultural production. Smallest physical unit of agricultural production. So we therefore would like to address that agricultural production management is actually farm management in essence. Now, from a layman's view, a body of activities, farm management means a body of activities and procedures carried out by a farmer or entrepreneur in in the ongoing management of his or her farm, for which advice may be available and from professional specialists in farm management. Okay, a body of activities and procedures carried out by farmer or entrepreneur. So that is part of, say, layman's perspective when we say farm management. Now, from the broadest sense, farm management is a professional discipline which relate to the description, construction, analysis, and evaluation of farm activities. Okay, so take a note: description, construction, and analysis and evaluation of farm activities. That is the total scope of when we talk about agricultural production management or farm management. Okay. In a wider sense, it is the discipline within the ambit of farm level systems analysis most clearly falls in this particular system. The systems analysis other than other discipline of technical or special purpose nature. Okay. In other words, the level of systems analysis actually uh, does not include from farm systems analysis and other discipline of a technical and a special purpose nature, like special pest management. It does not only say, for example, stuff from there. No? Farm management system analysis can have several operating objectives. Okay, remember, farm management systems analysis can have several operating objectives. Therefore, farm management is the science and art of optimizing the use of resources in the farm component of farm household and achieving the optimal function of this system in relation to household specified objectives. Okay? Science and art of optimizing the use of resources in the farm component farm household and achieving the optimal functioning of the system in relation to the specified objective of the farm household. If it is for commercial purpose, it should generate surplus. If it is for subsistence farming, it should provide food securely for the family. Okay? Now, another thing is optimization in the farm is defined as achieving the farm household goals as efficiently as possible in the face of whatever constraints of a physical, environmental, and sociocultural nature may be relevant. Okay, that is the conceptual, say, um, I would say, definition or coverage of when we talk about optimization in the farm management. Very important, achieving the objectives or the goals of the household efficiently. Efficiently meaning at least cost, for example, least at the lowest resource use, you can achieve the objectives of the farm household. Legal or socioeconomic or cultural nature of that nature. Now, objectives in the farm management in farm management is it is actually implying obtaining maximum possible net benefit over time from operation of the farm business. In other words, if you are managing an agricultural production plant or farm management, the objective is optimizing or obtaining maximum possible net benefit over time from operation of the farm business. If it is, if you go full time, for example, on a particular farm, see to it that as a rational manager, you have to decide or think whether that production activities is enough to pay both explicit and implicit cost. Meaning to say, explicit are those costs that are necessary, for example, in running the operation. Implicit would mean these are the opportunity cost of whatever resource that you may put into use, in which case that particular resource has a what has an opportunity, has an alternative use in other, say, other economic activity. Like for example, if you have a farm, if you so decide to go full time, see to it that it's able to pay your time. If not, do not do not do not go full time yet. Maybe your operation, your enterprise needs to attain a certain level of economies of scale that everything, both implicit and explicit cost, can be very well paid by the returns of that particular entrepreneurial endeavor. So these are the things that needs to be considered. Optimization of the attainment of objective. Not the net benefits can be in terms of monetary or non-monetary. Okay? So that means the net benefit, therefore, is should be positive. In other words, if it is positive, it is able to pay both explicit and implicit cost. In real life, there are a lot of prevailing sources of uncertainties, such as price, yield, and a host of other factors that will influence a farmer's decision. Okay, if you want to optimize or attain the objectives of the enterprise, there are a lot of what there are a lot of uncertainties going on in the farm. It is of course biological in nature, as we have said in earlier, no. Agricultural production is biological in nature, subject to climatic variabilities, and so on and so forth, and such and so. And some of these uncertainties are price. You cannot be sure about the price because we don't have the control of price. It's the market. It's a given phenomenon in the market. Okay, yield. You cannot control. Can you control yield? If it is a factory, well, you can control your output. But here, yield is a source of uncertainty because you do not know the biology, the physiological, say, undercurrent in the actual production activities. Because what? Agricultural production is biological in nature. And the goings on of everything in the physiology of the plant, in the condition of the soil, we don't have 100% fail-safe control. Okay, so there are other many factors that will influence the farmers. So if we talk about optimization objectives, there are two. Okay, optimization can occur at two levels. If you want to, meaning to say, if they optimize, meaning to say, you have to attain they have to attain or achieve the objectives of the household either for profit or for uh, food security. But this optimization can occur at two levels. One is local, meaning single household or income or profit, and the other one is global, meaning to say the community or the welfare for the society or the country. Okay, what could be I know what could be optimal for a household might not be optimal for the community. No, so it has to be seen in terms of which one is more preferable. Okay, the term welfare is used to broadly include monetary income, sustenance food, farm produce consumption goods, and factors of production. Okay, these are the term because earlier ning ingon tanga, if it is global or household community optimal to the community, it could be in terms of welfare maximization. And welfare is a broadly includes monetary income. It also includes non-monetary income or benefits such as education, nutrition, self-esteem. That's why when we talk about livelihood, we are actually dealing with uh, what what is what is that particular say activity that enhances the welfare of the household and the community, because as we have said, livelihood is defined as means to a living. So it could be enhancement of welfare of the community or the household. So when we talk about welfare, it could be monetary terms or it could be non-monetary, meaning to say the peace and order is one say welfare factor or welfare factor, education and self-esteem or pride. Okay, these are welfare benefits. And when we talk about non-monetary, it could be increase in income or securing food and also producing what is enough for the household. Okay, monetary things that can be monetized, and there are also welfare that cannot be monetized. Therefore, there are optimal or objectives of our agricultural production management that actually addresses welfare, and it also actually addresses like well-being of the individual household. Okay. Welfare or benefits maximization is conditional because it is constrained by resource availability as relevant legal constraint and socioeconomic norms. Okay. So welfare is actually a benefit that can be generated in the entire agricultural production management, because it can be that uh, the farm is intended for enhancing the proper use of resource and also securing food for the community, or maybe adding nutritive value to the for example soil. We need to say just have to uh, follow and maybe to green manure a certain area, no, make it more useful in the future. So that is as far as optimal objectives. Now, there are also, when we talk about economics as a framework of farm analysis. So, in farm management, it can be either, say, if we address farm management, you have to you have to have you have to develop or optimize the objectives, the attainment of objective in a way that it will promote the individual, the we- the monetary objective of individual farms or the non-monetary objective of the entire society. Okay, so something like that. Now, to do that, to achieve this particular optimization objectives of farm management, okay, we need to use the framework of economics so that we would be able to ascertain or to understand better in terms of whether we have achieved the optimality objective. Economics or economic analysis is the science of making choices so as to best achieve desired objectives, given that only limited resources and opportunities are available and that the future is uncertain. Or in other words, if it is if it is, if resources and opportunities available are limited, then it is tantamount to saying that there is scarcity. Okay, there is scarcity. Therefore, economic analysis is the science of making choices so as to achieve the desired objectives under conditions of scarcity. That is what we call as economics or economic analysis. Now, scarcity, as really commonly experienced by everybody, is what makes economics challenging. Because if there is unlimited supply of a particular resource or a particular, say, factor, there's no need economizing. There's no need to study economics. Everything is unlimited. Just like, for example, uh, before, but it's being commoditized already this time. For example, air. Air you can just breathe anywhere. So it's, why will you sell air in the first place? Air is a public good. You can just breathe anywhere. Not anymore this time. There are different classifications of ambient air and not so ambient air. So if you want a more ambient air, maybe you can go to a very pristine resort or a pristine location, and there you can breathe fresh air, but you have to pay. You have to pay. But if you are actually just like anybody else in the city, air is so expensive. Otherwise, if you go for a cheaper source of air that is free, you can breathe, including the smoke and the carbon monoxide of the pollutants inside the city. Okay, so something like that. So there is almost none, inexistent, in the condition today that is that scarcity is not present. Scarcity is everywhere. That's why economics is getting more and more important in everyday life. Okay. There are no choices to which the science of economics cannot be applied. Do you agree with that? No choices to which the science of economics cannot be applied. Engineering, health, what, environment, anywhere. The science of economics is the bottom line in terms of whether that particular endeavor is desirable or not. Okay? Even the ano, even the decision to, you know, to get married, to choose a wife, to choose a husband, economics is still there. Okay? For some of you who are not yet married, I think for some, if not most of you who are not yet married, that is one of your consideration. Why will you marry somebody when, uh, you know, you know what I mean? You need to have the economic perspective in choosing for your lifetime partner, or maybe assessing whether he has an economic potential in the future. Okay, so that life at least would be better off to some extent than what you are currently experiencing. So there are, as we have no choices, just like now, no choices to which science of economics cannot be applied. Okay, it's difficult. I don't know if there is such a choice where the science of economics cannot be applied. Financial analysis is thus a subset of economic analysis, and in circumstances where everything is valued in monetary terms. Because economics does not only mean money. Economics is the science of welfare enhancement. Money is just one part. Money is just monetary value, but it does not necessarily mean that when we talk about economics, it's all talking about money. No, we can also discuss about non-monetary terms, welfare, well-being, something like that. Uh, Life that is preserved. Why will somebody spend so much, thousands of dollars, thousands of euros, thousands of pesos, millions of whatever kind of type of money just to rescue one life? Why? Because life is invaluable. And yet, yes, rescuing one or few lives at the expense of almost insurmountable amount of money is still part of economics. And that part of economics is what we call as cost effectiveness, not cost efficiency. Because when we cost efficiency, you will always be thinking about one monetized value against the other, which is also a monetized value. But you cannot monetize life. So, effectiveness, appropriateness, okay, that is what is welfare also is all about. Now, as we have said, economics as the decision framework, decision must then be made using economic analysis based on money, values, intuition, and judgment. Farm management economics is economic analysis applied to choices confronting farmers' decision. Okay? In other words, so economic analysis in farm management is the use of economic principle in what? In making decisions relative to the attainment of the goals in the farm situation. So that the disciplinary basis of farm management remains economics. Okay? Hence, agricultural production management is actually not a total realm of business. It is also a realm of economics. Because when we manage agricultural production, when we manage a farm, farm has a non-monetary objective also compared to a factory where a factory has a purely, almost entirely economic objective or monetary objectives. Marketing and resource economics, agricultural credit are the most important. Sociology and social anthropology are also important at the household level of analysis. Okay, so in farm management, we use economics as a framework. Now, in farm management, it is the application of economic analysis for making choices in the farm operation. Now, alternative basis of farm systems analysis, because when we talk about farm management, we have various farm systems. Okay, we have various farm systems. Now, reasons why economics provides a good conceptual framework in a farm systems analysis. One is to bring many relationships within the system and between systems to some common unit of basis. That's why compare, because in economic analysis, you cannot compare an apple with Carabao. You have to have a certain conversion that the two will have an equal footing. Okay? Will always have an equal footing. You cannot compare a pencil and a cup of coffee. Okay? So you have to have a certain currency that will translate everything and have it analyzed based on sound reasoning of economics. Okay? Therefore, the universality accepted basis of comparison is in the monetary value. If you convert everything to monetary value, as much as it is possible, then the economic analysis will be very useful as a framework also. Okay? Now, four most important bases of comparison. In economic analysis, there are four most important bases of comparison. One is monetary value. If there is a certain, decision choices that you need to do to make, first criterion are these two options possibly can be monetized. If it is not possible to monetize both of them, then you cannot use that particular criterion. Then we move to the next basis of comparison. What about family labor effort? Okay, can we use this particular basis of comparison? The employment of family labor. Okay, the employment of family labor. So, when if it is applicable, then maybe we can use that as basis, employment of family labor. If not, energy, mechanical energy that we use. This one would, for example, there are two farms equally in good location, but there are attributes that you cannot simply use monetary value as a basis of comparison. Family labor could be also difficult. We go for biomechanical energy. Okay, what are the possible ways? Or even water consumption or availability of water, something like that. So these are the possible basis of comparison when we are faced with difficult choices in farm management. Okay, and these are actually following certain economic principle because even if it cannot be monetized, economic is still applicable there by this different comparison. So first is monetary value. As we move from commercial to subsistence farming, the use of monetary as basis of numerator or conversion unit becomes more abstract. As we move from commercial to subsistence, take note, it is easy to compare monetary value or use monetary value when it is commercially operating. But if it is subsistence, kitchen oriented, monetary value is difficult to compare because what is what is nutritious or uh, uh, say good for one certain family might not be good for another family if we use monetary value. We need to find for another basis. The use of monetary value basis becomes more abstract if we move from uh, ano, commercial to subsistence farming. The reverse is true. From subsistence farming to commercial farming, the use of monetary value becomes more and more applicable. Family labor effort, the more traditional the farm is, in what, as in what is existing in Asia, the more useful labor content as basis of comparison among farms. The more traditional the farm is. Okay? Just like, for example, like whether to use this kind of feeding material or the other feeding material. Like if you use corn cob or if you use like banana peelings or other farm waste, you cannot use monetary value. Why? In the first place, difficult to monetize. What can you expect? Banana bracks. Or bani ba? Difficult to monetize. Or maybe grassland there. You have for example, a corn cob. You compare that with pasture grass. Well, what is the value of corn cob? Corn cob, well, maybe we can monetize that. But how will you monetize the pure grass that is available at the farm area? Difficult, no? So we use family labor effort as basis of comparison. How much would it take to make the corn cob available for feeds in your livestock? How much labor needed and how much labor needed also to use and for example, the pure grass, something like that. So labor content as basis of comparison among farms, since not everything can be valued by money. So it becomes very important. Labor effort or labor content. Biomechanical energy for appropriate for some macro industry sector strategic planning. So if for example, becoming more and more broader in coverage, biomechanical energy can be of use. Immediate interest to the family is income. That means the availability of biomechanical energy is also one very important comparison. Water consumption can also be very important, say, basis of comparison. More appropriate as macro level systems and analysis than apparitional oriented systems. Okay, so things that you can probably observe. You know? So which particular practice is more important? Now, it's difficult to, when it is difficult to monetize, then we go for like water consumption. Which one will consume less water or easy to draw water, something like that. No? In some places where water is really scarce, that is really very useful, very significant. So uh, another is from among these bases of comparison, energy, water, and ecological balance, the lack the etc. lack the universality and the general value orientation required for analysis. Money, value, and labor will remain to be the most common. No? And labor, because labor can be converted into wage rate, and money is money as a value. So either for small, traditional, or commercialized farm, these two are more prevalent basis in comparing choices of decision. Now, up until now, the farms are commonly classified on the basis of agroecological factors such as climate, soil slope, etc. No? Now, the crop and livestock systems overlaid to a lesser extent with socioeconomic criteria. No? So, if we look at the different farm types, a different lens of looking at farm business is to classify farms based on structure of farm management, farm household perspective, such as what is the purpose of the farm? Okay, because we want to manage farm, they want to compare, and also because to be able to manage a farm effectively, we need to know what is the orientation or objective of the farm. That is very first, no, so that your effort will be based on the intention, the intended say direction of the farm. If it is commercial operation, then we see whether this is producing enough surplus for the market. If it is for subsistence, is it producing enough food for the or feed, for example? The main purpose of the farm is very important. In its degree of independence, meaning to say, is it a standalone farm where you can make decisions within the farm aside from other external factors, or what about its size? The size is very important because if the size is uh, very small or very fractionalized, it cannot even support subsistence operation. Okay, although it is designed for subsistence, but the thing is, it might not be enough for the household or for the family. So these are the things that we have also to consider different farm types and needing also different considerations. First, understand the purpose of the farm. If we want to manage the farm very well, if we want to use economic, principles to make some choices or decisions, understand first the purpose of the farm and the degree of independence. That means to say, is the farm, is the farm, when we talk about degree of independence, can the farm has a relative, uh, it has a separable input and output cost. Okay, degree of independence meaning to say that the farm can generate independently its revenue and cost. Na may ubang farm nga gigamit lang as gamit lang as really just a part of input providing, or maybe part of like supporting other plots, for example. So that very importantly, when we analyze a farm, okay, a farm type or classify a farm type, the input and output system is relatively separable. If it is not separable, then you look for the boundary of that particular farm type. Otherwise, it cannot be called as a farm because there is no, the degree of independence is inexistent. Okay, and the next one is size. Okay, that is very important in managing and also uh, making the normal or deciding for the normal functioning of the farm. Purpose, separability, and the size. Okay. There are six major farm types in the business system common in Asia and elsewhere around the world, especially from developing the world system. There are six different types of farms. Totally subsistence, covering from totally subsistence to totally commercial orientation. So these are the six common farm types. Number one is small subsistence oriented farms. Number two is semi subsistence, partly commercial family farms, as in the farms in uh, uh, Punjab, in India, and also in Pakistan, somewhere in the South Asia, actually, South Asia, because we are in the Southeast Asia. Okay, now this type of farms are common. No? First is subsistence, family oriented. Napo iban, small semi-subsistence or partly commercial farms. The third type is small, independent, specialized family farms. Okay? Independent and specialized family farms. The other one is, for example, small, dependent, specialized family farms, often with family as a tenant. Okay? So, na yung mga system of farm that are uh, ano, uh, cultivated by tenants. But yet, they are really attached to that particular for livelihood. No? That is a type of farm. And there is also large commercial family farms, and there is also a commercial estates, fully independent. No? This commercial estate and large, this commercial estate are actually has a personality, legal personality of its own, kind of corporate farm ba? But large commercial family farms, the legal identity is attached to the owner. Small dependent specialized family farms, that is the the legal personality is not attached to the household cultivating or to the tenant, but it's attached to the legal or to the owner. That is somehow the personality of the farm. Small subsistence-oriented family farms, it would be like somebody is cultivating a public land or somebody is just doing a kaingin, subsistence. Okay? Otherwise, kung commercial the authorities will apprehend you. So these are the six common types of family farms. So you have first is small subsistence family farms. We will discuss the first topic or the first type of farm in the next session. For now, what have we done? What have we accomplished so far? We have what? We have what is a farm. Also, say reason out, argue why do we need to study about farm? Because a farm is the smallest physical unit of agricultural production. And in agricultural production, it is actually agricultural production management is actually the application of the principles of farm management. And when we talk about farm management, it is actually the use of economic principles, principles for economic analysis in making choices in running and operating the farm business. Okay? Now, if you manage or run the farm business, there are choices that you need to make. Either you make comparison, you make decision for whatever expansion or what have you. We always use economic, say, principles or economic tool of analysis. And then economic tool of analysis can either be monetary or non-monetary. Okay? If it is monetary, it would promote like the welfare of the household. Now, in here, we need to we need to uh, adhere to this final principle. I will end up at this point, and I will see you. I will see you in the next session, our next session, so that we will be able to continue with the different or the six types of farm types. Okay? All for now, and I will see you in our next session. Thank you, and God bless.